Hey guys, welcome back. This is a Project Blank, and this is a main menu. Kinda boring, right? At least this one is. And this one. And this one too. Almost every flat screen main menu is. You start the game and right away see a start button, continue button, option button, button, and no gameplay. Sure, maybe it's useful from time to time to set up resolution, audio, load a save or start the game. But look, wouldn't it be better to set up your game and have fun at the same time? That's why I made a decision to create a fully interactive main menu. Sure, not the most original idea, other games have already done that, but hear me out. Mine would be better. So where do we start? I would say loading levels is pretty important, so let's start with that and make a room from where we will select the levels we want to play and start a loading screen. First of all, we need a new level, floor, then a wall, times 4, ceiling, and then this thing. Now, when I tell you to imagine a loading screen, something like this can pop into your mind. Almost static, spitting useless information on you, as a loading bar, maybe a spinning circle. But that isn't really ideal for VR because suddenly freezing players' entire vision tends to make them sick for some reason. That's why a majority of VR games are using async loading screens with a transition or persistent level. This approach can be seen on flat screen too. For example, Assassin's Creed has this loading screen. While the game is still loading a level, it won't freeze and you are still able to play. That's the async part. And all of this is the transition level part. As you can see, this is an ideal use case for VR loading screen. Another option would be to just use a black screen, but that's not really an option I want to go with. And I have my reasons. Since I have never done this loading screen before, I scoured the internet for potential solutions. And as usual, didn't find much. Andrew VR has a tutorial on this topic, and I tried to implement his solution. But it had too much moving parts and I would have to customize it too much. In other words, I felt lazy and didn't want to waste too much time on rewriting his code, so I decided to look at the Unity asset store. Big mistake. I found an asset that could do exactly what I needed, and after importing this asset to a test project, everything seemed to work. So I tried to implement it into the main project and made this beautiful transition level. It worked fine in the test project. Surely I can run it again with no problems whatsoever. What is this?
Throwing flashbang.
Oh yeah, I forgot to import the shader. Let's try again. What now? Of course, wrong level name. No, it works, right? I forgot about this. Not sure why, but when a project is using OpenXR, skyboxes are a bit weird. Don't worry, a sphere with inverted normals will fix it. Alright, let's try again. Great, it works. Looks good for now, but I will have to think of a way to make this loading screen a bit more appealing. Okay, on to the next thing. Level selection. Here's what I'm thinking. Step 1. Take this ball. Step 2. Stare at it. 3. Blame it for all of your problems and pain. And finally, violently throw it into this machine to relieve your pain. It will suspend the ball in the air by, magnets? Magic? Well, pick your poison. The important thing is, our level is now selected. There will be multiple balls. So many balls! And every single ball represents, or will represent, a different playable level. But let's be real, I'm not playing on more than 12 levels, and even that is too much for one dev. So we can fit these on a shelves near the machine with no problem. But to continue, after throwing our level ball into the load machine, the only thing remaining is to push this big red button to confirm your selection and fade into loading screen. Of course, this was just a plan, so anything could go wrong. And it did. Right away I realized spring joints can't be placed on the machine because you can't choose which objects you want to affect at runtime. So each ball will have to have its own spring joint and turn it on and off. Then it was just a matter of testing the input values and a number of joints. Yes, we have to use multiple joints, otherwise the ball won't be stable. This 4-joint layout will do. The only thing remaining is to assign each ball a different level and make a simple script to start a selected scene, which was relatively easy, and after a few tests, everything worked. Then I decided to make this room look a little bit better. So let me just... Couple hours of thinking and planning later, this was the result. Of course, this design isn't final, but the layout should stay the same. Level selection, achievements, exit, and other stuff. By other stuff I mean a lot of interactive objects and puzzles, so player can have fun even in the main menu. Plus, don't tell anyone, but even a main menu will play a certain role in the overall story of Project Blank. Why did you make the boss so weirdly shaped? What is this? Well, I'm sorry, say goodbye to balls, because I came up with a better representation of levels. Gentlemen, I present to you a miniature level behind the glass. The idea is to have a scaled down version of any level, in this instance Mars level, and since I'm not 100% sure how it will look from the outside, in this case, this is something like a first draft and it will change. But be prepared for something like this to appear in future versions of main menu. Obviously there is still a lot of work ahead of us. For example, settings, achievements and puzzles are still not present. So we will have to come back to this in the future for sure. But that will be all for today. If you like this devlog, maybe check out the previous one where I made a gun that isn't a gun.